Good evening. This is Peter Rezicek from Weekly Options Advisory and ShadowTrader.net. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about just kind of the state of the market first, and then pointing out a couple of sectors and stocks that I think will be on the move to the upside in the near future. So real quick, let's just start with this S&P here. We got a pinch to the downside, which would be short-term bearish. When I say pinch, I mean when the 8 crosses through the 21. So here's your pinch, here's your pinch. These are all spots where it's pinched, and you can see it goes up from there. And now we got the opposite where we pinched down. However, getting the pinch down thus far did not result in any meaningful downside. In fact, it just double bottomed right here, right? If anything, if you look very closely, we undercut this level by just a hair. The low here was 5832.3, and the low here was 5829.53. So just a couple of points. So that's really just kind of a fake out where the market probed these levels but couldn't find new sellers to join the party, and then turned back up and closed back above the 8, or just a hair above the 8. So that's the situation in the S&P. And if you look at the situation in NDX, it's very, very similar in that the undercut here was deeper, but again, could not find new sellers. And what's noteworthy about the NDX, especially talking about the 821 cross, is the fact that because the NDX was showing a lot of relative strength lately into the end of the year rally, notice that as the market has come down, it's barely even pinching. It really hasn't even happened yet. You haven't gotten a pinch. It was just like this one day here, if you want to look very closely, where the 8 was below the 21 just on that one day, but that's not much of a pinch. It just lasted that day. So this is important to note. So this feels to me like the market has potential to move up. So if you recall, the last couple of updates I gave you, especially like in here, I told you that energy stocks were going to be a buy. I told you to buy XLE, and that was somewhere in here, and that turned out to be quite right. And then there was also another one that I did, which was you should buy NVIDIA now, and that was for, I gave you the reasons why NVIDIA, and that was also back in here, right? And notice what's happened since then. You've moved up quite a bit. NVIDIA has been moving up. So keeping with that theme, let me give you 2 more this time, and we'll see how I do this time. This time, I'm interested in healthcare and real estate. So let's just start with healthcare. This is the daily chart of the XLV, and we're going to just keep looking at the TA and keep it very simple, knowing that we've got a swing low support here from April lows. And then what you want to pay attention to is that this line is very, very important. And any activity below the line that doesn't hold should be noteworthy. And look how much activity we have below the line that doesn't hold. We literally get one day below here, and then we have another day down, and that's the lowest that it's gone. And then you have here, and then you close above, close above, close above. And then when you break down back below, you come into a higher low, and you now go to here. So I think what this is doing is frustrating sellers, and you may have a move to the secondary trend line or even to the primary trend line in the healthcare stocks. Within that space, the ones I like the best, there's a lot of stocks in here, but I don't have time to tell you all of them, so I'm just picking the best, the ones that I think should work out the best. J&J, very good risk reward at these levels, I would say, right? Because you know where your stop has to be, pretty much right there below 142.75. You can be long here at 144 roughly, a very good risk reward, because you should figure that you're at least going to go where, right? You've got a primary trend line here, secondary trend line here. I mean, at the very least, you go to the secondary, but I'd be looking for more. I would be thinking at least maybe to this low here, go to about 150. Whatever this risk is from here to here, I mean, at least double it, but I think it could be a 3R. As they say, like, 3 times risk. J&J is one. TMO, Thermo Fisher Scientific. I like this one in that you have this very protracted here, this big move down here, very prominent, and you have an increase in volume, excuse me, and then you've got the action leveling out, going higher, and then this is an undercut. And these lows are kind of the same, and you can see now the trajectory is in this direction. So I'm thinking that also probably has a shot at moving up. ISRG, look at this. This hasn't even pulled back really. Like, this just looks phenomenal. I mean, the whole sector is pulled back deeply, and this one hasn't budged. So what do you think is going to happen? It's probably going to be very strong if the whole sector turns around. And then Danaher is the last one in this space that I wanted to mention. It didn't even make it here to the Feb lows here. And when it came down, or when it has been coming down, it has been coming down in a very, I would say kind of, it's not really a halting manner because you've got these big moves down here, but the lows are very incremental as opposed to this low versus this low or all these lows here. That's not incremental. That's just going serious new lows each time. In this case, it's like barely making it there, right? It's just a little bit incremental low, a little bit incremental low, and now you've started to rally up. So I would be looking for like something like this. You can already see that there's a trend line break here, probably to here is your first target, and kind of monitor for continuation. Okay, so that's healthcare. Let's look at real estate. This is XLRE. This is kind of noteworthy to me because it has this consolidation of prices, which I like. Wherever there's a congestion like this, you should be looking for this congestion and then be expecting a stronger move in either direction. You don't know which direction it's going to be, but remember the theme of the video here is that the market seems to be fine, and also the fact that it, that we know that these sectors, when we look at, or rather, I should say when we look at the market, it seems to be poised to go higher in a bit of a turnaround, so we can kind of expect the same for the 11 sectors to follow. So I'm thinking that this activity here going sideways is going to result in a move to the upside, breaking out of it. So watch for a breakout for that. The stop is obvious. If you want to just do it with this ETF, you'd be stopped under here. You'd be long at about 41-ish. You're probably risking $1, and you're going to see if you can get up to these levels. And in this particular sector, I only have two to share with you. I'm going to go with PSA, which is public storage. You can see that you had this big move down, big body candles, a lot of emotion. And since then, you've rallied back to here to the 8. And look at how many times you've tested the 8. Right? Multiple times just kind of bubbling under the 8. So to me, the next price action I would think is going to be above the 8. And then last but not least is O, which is one of my favorite stocks. I always say I'm not a long-term holder of barely anything. I don't really have a lot of wealth in equities that I hold, which is very, very different from the majority of Americans, basically, right? I mean, most people have all their money in stocks, 401ks, etc. I don't. But that being said, I have a small amount of money in long-term stuff, equities, and one of them is O. This pays a great dividend. It pays out monthly, and I just kind of accumulate. When it comes down, I try to buy some shares. If it's high, I try not to buy any shares, and as it's lower here, this is probably a good time to be buying some more shares. And it's a similar situation to the other stocks where you've got support level coming in here, and the stock comes down into that support area, and since then is just kind of consolidating sideways. And I think there's potential for the next move to be to the upside. All right, that's all. Hopefully it'll be helpful to you. I hope it all works out and you make some money with these ideas. I wish you good trading and good night. Hey, this is Peter from ShadowTrader.net, and I just wanted to thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you'd like to trade live with me every day in my weekly options advisory, then check out the link in the description below. I wish you good trading, and I'll see you in the room.